Hi everyone, Sarah Adams. It is July 18th today, Monday, July 18th, and just getting some major insight into getting free of the bondage of addiction. And in my case, I can only speak for romantic love addiction because that has been the one that has been my drug of choice in this lifetime. And what I'm identifying, which I think is key in really accepting and embracing with compassion this addictive spiral. And any addictive spiral, this could be applied to drugs, any kind of mood altering compulsion that takes us away from the present moment. But we could call this a spiral of betrayal, a spiral of self-betrayal, right? But that's not to judge ourselves. That's not, that betrayal word is not to say that we've done anything wrong. What happened on this planet is the negative aliens, antichristed forces that did not want self-love in the genetic code. Understanding that self-love in the genetic code means the end of all forces siphoning off of the human race. So the number one thing was to prevent the masculine and the feminine from unifying across the central meridian line of our genetic code, right? This was the number one thing. And in our Christed blueprint, we had all 12 strands of DNA in masculine, feminine marriage. A sacred marriage at the level of 12 helixes of DNA. Imagine the exquisite majesty of that sacred communion. That is our divine birthright. And that is translated as sourcing all bliss within the self, within breathing the divine starlight and earth magic in every breath, and being completely fulfilled in ecstatic communion with all that is. Let's stop and take a breath with this. 12 DNA strands in complete ecstatic merging and sharing royalty across every interface of lover and beloved. Let's just breathe this. This is our divine birthright. This is the state of the Orifeme genetics of the original human race. And now we're going to talk about the massacre. Now, I don't understand the exact science here, but that is not as important as you feeling the feeling of what was taken from us and how it left us. It took us from total sovereign gods and goddesses in a playground of exquisite tantric ecstasy with all life, and rendered us in to fear-based, addicted, outwardly sourcing zombies. Pokemon chasers. Okay? So, how did this happen? Trying to cover up the fan behind me. This happened 5,500 years ago, circa, around 5,500 years ago. Somehow, the Orion group, the Draconians, the antichristed forces that wanted to invade the human genome, infiltrated the earth and ripped the core feminine principle out of the earth. Now, what does this mean? I really don't understand. I know that my teacher, Lisa Renee, tells me that it's the mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria of every cell is where the Divine Mother is located. The breath of the Divine Mother comes from the mitochondrial DNA. Okay? So they ripped the Divine Mother by massacring the mitochondria. And don't ask me how they achieved that, but they achieved a massacre of the mitochondria of every sentient living being on our earth. Okay? Which caused a massive black hole. Massive. And an inability to connect beyond the third dimension, so that we would have a ceiling of fear over our consciousness that would lock us. We'd be abandoned. The mother would have totally abandoned us. And we're underneath this terrifying separation consciousness, fear-based reality of what I call black orphan destination. Every single sentient cell in the human race was rendered black orphan destination. Okay? All dimensions, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, were completely out of reach. And we were stuck only in the third dimension. And what was left of the third dimension was severely damaged. Okay? So, in other words, not only is there not a sacred marriage of all 12 strands, we're down to 2 strands of genetic code, and we're in third dimension only. And within that third dimension, there's a sense of black orphan. Where did mother go? What happened? What's going on? Okay? So in this state of total vulnerability, of having the mother ripped away, they installed Nephilim reversal architecture. Now, that's a huge word, but to understand what is Nephilim reversal architecture, it's the architecture of addiction. Okay? It is, okay, now that you have no mommy, mommy's gone. Well, guess what we're going to put in your mouth instead? Heroin, TV, religious crap, media, dharma, another person, whatever you're going to put, the pacifier that they're going to stick in the black hole that they left when they massacred the mitochondria is siphoning all attention to fill it in the outside world. And that is the main causal agent of the fall from external self-sourcing into, internal self-sourcing. I can't even say the words half the time. Internal self-sourcing to blind, addictive enslavement to the outside world. Right? And we are in the process of bringing back that internal empowerment, of freeing ourselves from the bondage of addiction, first by identifying where are the bondage points in our particular life where addiction has us. And what is the trauma underneath that addiction? Because everything that we long for, every feeling that we long for is a lost part of our own birthright, right? So if we long for this pink box, let's get something bigger. If we long for this purple velvet box, right? If we long for this thing, underneath that longing is our actual self that was ripped away from us. We're longing for our union with ourself in this purple box. So first, embrace the fact, the passion in you that longs for that purple box, because that means you're awake. You're awake. At least you're awake to the loss. Being awake to the loss is the first step in uniting and bringing back the pieces in that particular branch of the loss. So celebrate that you're obsessed and addicted with this purple box. I gotta have this box, because you're now longing for union with your own essence. Okay? So first, celebrate that you're addicted. But but rip yourself off of the object of your addiction. You can't stay on top of that thing, or your parasitic tendency will never get off. So you have to rip yourself off, okay? Just get and come back to yourself as much as you can. As you rip yourself off of the addiction, you're going to start feeling the original black hole underneath that grasping, right? And that begins the journey home. That begins the journey home when you begin to sit with the black hole of the damage. That's when you're literally with the damage in the code. It is the most hopeful, beautiful, sacred time. It hurts like hell. And yet that is when the divine love that you are is sitting upon the brokenness. And underneath this beautiful interface, inside this beautiful interface, all the pain of that original betrayal is healed. And the genetic code once again merges and shares royalty with itself. So since 1998, I've been through 30 of these romantic love, addiction, and self-reclamations. And the process has been extremely passionate and painful. And I think just making this video, I so hope that this video can serve to really help anyone who's struggling with this addiction to first honor and embrace their desire. For the desire is holy. Desire means of the Father. Desire. In this longing is the answer to the union, but you just have to redirect. You know, peel yourself off of the external object and alchemize the longing, the pressure, right? In alchemy, it's the pressure of the time forward and the time reverse electrons under the fire that allows for the merging. And that's what this negative alien invasion takeover, dark planet Earth enables us to do, is to come into this incredible alchemy where we harness the forces of addiction. We use the passion in that addiction and turn it to the fire that unites the Christ consciousness and births that body through the tremendous pressure. The pine tree is one of the amazing, the seed of the pine tree only blooms after fire. And this is very much what this alchemy is that the new life, the new recombination comes in the intense heat of the fire, which is the internalization of external desire creates the fire. I think there's a song in here. A lot of this stuff rhymes. All right, this was a long video, but I really believe that this is serving me so extremely, and I gift this right now out into everyone on earth that is struggling at this level. Let these words be a balm for your soul. Let yourself feel totally loved in all stages of this reclamation process. And if you need to work with this, I have expertise in this area because of all of these experiences. So please seek me out. Find me on Facebook, Sarah Adams Music, if you like my page. You'll see my name and you can message me. Or you can message me at the bottom of my YouTube, because this will be in my Sarah Sparkle Ascension Updates page. Okay, everyone. I'll also have Sarah Adams Healing on Facebook. Much love. We are in this together. remembering the body of the Christ by trial and by fire, we bring this planet to her original divine blueprint, where the earth and the stars, in a 12th dimensional celebration of masculine-feminine union, rise again. Much love. Bye-bye.